Evening, everyone. If you would please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I'll start us out with a prayer. Dear Lord, we come to you this evening, Lord, asking for your continued wisdom, Lord, and your help in decision making. Lord, be with our community and our county to help us make good decisions, help us to help others, and help us to do things in a way that's pleasing to you. Lord, I thank you for this opportunity to talk to the people this evening, and for those that have traveled to our meeting. For in your most precious name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, I'll welcome everybody again to the Hampshire County Commission meeting, Tuesday, September 26, 2023. And I also draw your attention to that we are online, and I welcome anybody that's watching that way as well. So with that, I call the meeting to order, and we had copies of the minutes sent to us from the clerk earlier in the week, and I would entertain a motion to approve those or make any corrections that were needed.
I move the minutes be approved as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been approved, or it's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes as presented of our last meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passed. And now we will move on to the President's and Commissioners' reports. I got a couple things. I'll start I had a few meetings, independent meetings, as president of the commission or as a county commissioner. I did meet with, talked with both delegates and went over just some generalization of county issues, what the commission would like to work on, where we want to put emphasis and that sort of thing, and I appreciated both delegates reaching out to me for that, and spoke with both of them for probably an hour on different issues. Recycling committee, I worked with one of our volunteers on the recycling committee in our maintenance department to interview for a limited part-time job for truck driving to move the cardboard, which it will be a good bit cheaper to do that than the way we were doing it, hiring that out. So we met and interviewed some applicants on that, good applicants for that job, and a decision was made to hire someone for that, and later in the meeting I'll bring that to the commissions to approve. Parks and Rec, do we have Parks and Rec here tonight, Greg, or okay? You're here for something else. All right, so I'll go over a little bit with that. They're getting ready to go to the park there and start the lights. Maintenance guys need quite a bit of time to get all those lights up. It's a pretty big job, so that's coming here pretty soon. Greg, did you have anything you wanted to add while you're here for Parks and Rec? Don't want to put you on the spot, but
no, we're just busy working on the other programs and of course working on leaky roofs, Kenny and more, and our director
Okay, thank you, and thank you for coming this evening. And then also, I met with a gentleman that has worked a lot in the energy sector of surrounding states. I want to talk to him about solar, because we've been approached here, as you all know, recently with some solar companies wanting to expand into our county. And if some of you recall, when they were here, they proposed some county involvement in that. And because of that, I've decided to research it some, and I'm trying to find out, the positives and negatives, like there is on it. Anytime something like that comes along, there's positives and negatives. The gentleman I talked to was very educated on the subject, and he's working on getting me some information from counties not too far away, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Delaware, that have dealt with solar, and how when it comes into their communities, what the effects are. And that's particularly like solar farms, not necessarily places that make solar panels or something that would offer jobs. This is usually a lease agreement that involves one solar company and usually a single property owner. So looking at some of the things to watch out for on that, or not to watch out for, and what benefits could come to the county from it, and what things such as cleanup and how long they last, and how much, a lot of the energy doesn't go, none of the energy would be used here locally. It would go to our neighbors to the east, and so on and so forth. So I just, along with one of the delegates had asked me about that issue too, so looked into that a little bit. That's all I got, gentlemen, and I'll pass the floor on to Commissioner Hott.
Okay, I attended a Central Hampshire PSD. I attended a public hearing that they had concerning the Frenchburg upgrade and renovation. There was no, matter of fact, we had a public hearing, but there wasn't any public comment at all. And then the only other thing I think was discussed there was probably the sewer system, the rates that they may be have to pay the town of Romney for the sewer. I attended the Region 8 Executive Committee meeting, whereas about the only thing we done there was we passed a resolution stating that we would the Region 8 received $35,000 from the state, and we had to pass a resolution, adopted a resolution saying that how we would spend that money within the guidelines of the state planning and development office. I attended a farmland protection board meeting where we elected new officers for the year, and also where we reviewed the county applications that we've had, and we selected 2 properties that we're gonna try to get protected. And the only other thing, I had a few phone calls concerning some subdivision covenants and the subdivision ordinance. Other than that, that's all I had to report.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Hott. Commissioner Cannon?
Thank you. I attended the Criminal Justice Board meeting with Delegate Thorne rode along, and no major, just business, just updates on the grants. The director reported on our referral rate, which is pretty staggering compared to where he came in. Our DHHR referrals are up 1,100%. Everything's going really well, so we're $224,000 into the black, so the books are balanced. We're out in front of the grants, expanding the services for our citizens. So all the money's being put to use. That the county is being paid back a lot more rapidly than we thought on the money we helped them with to get them through till their grants come in. And I spoke to the clerk a little bit about it, so we're doing good there. Hoping to see a six-figure payment to the commission to the general fund rather, this month, at the end of this month. So I think that'll help us with the $250,000 for the revolving loan to the Development Authority going out, and a lot of the other things. See, we have some other things on the agenda. There's always a lot of money to be spent and a lot of projects, so that pleasant surprise there. Also, it's personnel minor adjustments and things. Committee on Aging's tomorrow. Development Authority, I met with them, and then I also met with the mayor separately. We're kind of back in the dance with the superintendent of the West Virginia School for the Deaf and Blind and Secretary Carmichael on what to do with those buildings over there. The old blind school, the multi-sensory building, and the old blind building, blind school building. It's just quick math. You're 20, 30,000 square feet of buildings we're trying to put to use. So I kind of thought that had died, and then of course we had the horrible fire that threw a wrench into our big surprise to do that welcome center. But things are looking up again. I thought that was a dead issue, but it's now back on the table, and everybody's involved again. And I don't want to throw any potential businesses out there and get anybody's hopes up, but we're looking into every possibility. Child care services, talked about police department for the town. We're talking about nothing's off the table, just trying to get those buildings put to use. You gentlemen also should have received the updates and the pictures on Hampshire Memorial Hospital. It's finally starting to go the right direction. I've got all the progress reports for that, and there's also, like I said, pictures in your email of the site down there. I did also meet with the sheriff and our grant writer, grant administrator, Aaron Timbrook, on interviewing our newest candidates for the grant writer position. I have to say, without getting into detail, definitely the best candidates. We've had some really good candidates overall, but I'll get into that a little later. Met with Tom Sirotto, who's the procurement officer for U.S. Cellular. You gentlemen remember he had came to the county 6 months ago, and he's sort of a subcontractor, and U.S. Cellular was investing a lot of money. They wanted to put 5 new towers, then it was 4 new towers, and we were trying to get those put on taxpayer land because they do pay a fee each month, so why not try to jockey to get that money in the taxpayers' accounts. But still in procurement, things have languished with that. It's kind of discouraging, but I know for a fact we're getting 1 tower going, and that one's in Cape and Bridge, and improvements to the one in Springfield, and you gentlemen have seen those permits, so I don't want to belabor on that. I know Commissioner Eglinger knew through Parks and Rec, but Commissioner Hod, it was about, I don't want to say maybe 6-8 months ago, a gentleman from the county came to me and he wanted to do something. There wasn't very many fields for softball for little girls, and I asked him to present to the Parks and Rec his idea, just more or less for permission to see if he and his group could do the work to the field. And we got several stakeholders in the county to pitch in: fencing, Mr. Bryson, Mr. Flanagan, F&B Bank, and a lot of different individuals have donated baseball dirt and blocks, and Kenny and the maintenance guys and Parks and Rec have really been awesome. So the fence is up, we got the backstop. Randy Buckley did a lot of the excavating work. He's gonna come back and finish. There's some things that need dressed up, and approach the Moose about putting that yellow corrugated pipe that protects the top of the fence. The Moose, I think, is interested in donating that. So we're getting there, you know. We got the metal donated for the dugouts. So that's a cool little park for our kids. I thought that was a cool thing. The COO for EA Halls had reached out to commissioners just to talk about potential growth in the county. PVTA, our big meeting for our hydrogen project expansion is October 3rd at 10 a.m. The state Division of Transit, and I believe the Governor's Secretary is coming out, so I'm going to go to that meeting. And also met with Mr. Salzar, our West Virginia First Foundation delegate for, I believe that's what we're calling him, that we elected. And Mr. Hillenbrand brought forward a great proposal for game changer program, if you will, for our kids. So looking to try to use some of that West Virginia First Foundation monies for prevention. As we know, if you treat and teach kids on the front end about drug prevention, it's way better than trying to teach them after they're addicted. So that's all I really have right now, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Cannon. I'll add to my report, I did get a few calls about broadband. You know, obviously Frontier's had some troubles the last couple of weeks, so that usually brings a few phone calls. But since Mr. Cox is here this evening, and he is our broadband person for the county, I'm going to ask him to give us just a quick broadband update. And he did send us all three commissioners a detailed update this week. So I was just going to ask him if he'd expand on that a little bit.
I'll have further information tomorrow as we sit down and go through what's been spliced, but excuse me. Current numbers, so again, we anticipated a 30% take rate, meaning if we pass 100 homes, typically 30 people would take the service. At this point, so the public-private partnership total is up 149 from last month, 824 total homes passed, and we have 230 of those subscribing, up 53 from the prior year's report. So our total take rate for all of our projects is 34.67%, and that's up 8.5%. So we're exceeding our take rate, our estimated take rate. So take rate in Cape and Bridge, if you're breaking it down a little bit, it's about 34%. They're adding, we had a lot of the Frontier issues has increased the phone calls to Hardy as well. The Grassy Lick portion take rate is 35.25%, and that is going to go up this month as well because they've added 2 new switches with Community Way and Rabbit Run. The Community Connect project that's the $3.5 million project on 259 corridors. We're going to call it probably 98-99% complete. There's one right-of-way issue on Falls Road that we're working through, and I think Mr. Rinker can probably address that a little bit if need be. But splicing's expect to wrap up on the portions it's placed probably this week or early next. There's some additional taps, but they're doing some stuff outside. Hardy's doing some stuff outside of the project area to catch people that were not inside of the project area. So they're doing on their own dime to come back around and catch those people that was not funded through the grant process. And they couldn't be funded because if they had service or they were funded previously through other programs. So Falls Road is updated. Greg, I guess. So the update there is Falls Road is, the right-of-way is complete at this point. So they'll just need that 7,000 feet to finish that piece up. So the main line from the Romney Middle School to the 5029 split is completed, still waiting splicing. Again, that's our biggest holdup at this point. The piece from Grassy Lick, Fort Hill intersection, about basically halfway, at the halfway point now, is spliced together. We anticipate it being spliced and actually ready to serve customers out of the Augusta remote mid-October at this point. Again, I'll touch on the splicing. Hardy had hired 2 additional contractors for outside contractors to fill in to try to catch up because we had to wait so long on materials. But now they're trying to play catch up with splicing. So those 2 splicers were only here for a limited time. They had to go do another project that they had already committed to, and then they are going to be coming back to help finish this up. So midwinter time frame, early January, early 2024, those extra splicers will come back. But Hardy's also hired their own internal splicers as well, and they are coming up to speed. The remote at the Augusta Fairgrounds is complete and ready to serve people, as soon as we can get the feeder fiber spliced into it. All the equipment's ready to go, the generator's in place, batteries are in place, everything's in place, it's ready to go. Again, I'd say October, November timeframe, you're gonna see some significant increases in all of the numbers as well as, so. That's, as far as the general update, that's about the best I can do right now, till tomorrow.
Thank you, Aaron.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for doing that. We did have several questions the last couple of weeks, so thought it would be appropriate to give a report on that. Okay, if no other comments or news from the commissioners, then we will move on to our first and only listed agenda item in the main agenda, and that is our parking lot and alley paving update. And I believe we have Mr. Hott here to tell us about that.
Good evening, guys.
Evening.
Evening.
Water leak across the street was repaired, and through all that, the town repaired the water leak. With that, there's work, but when you look at the parking lot, it's in pretty rough shape, especially the alley and the parking lot on this side of the alley. Mr. McBride, he got an estimate on fixing that part, and Mr. Cox helped with some measurements and got some prices. So if you were to do the whole thing over there, all parking lots, alley and everything, you're looking at roughly $75,000. However, that made the paper, and I had a phone call from a citizen of the county who is astute with grant writing and says there is grant funding to use porous pavers, and that's 100% funded for that project. He said it would take a year and a half by the time he started the grant process to get, but it's 100%, and that individual is offered his services to help the county grant writer to pursue those grants. So at that point, we've been kind of sitting on our hands to see which direction you all might want to go.
Porous pavers?
Porous.
Oh, porous.
Porous, I'm sorry, yep.
There, I think Commissioner Cannon's looking it up, but there are those pavers with let the water go through, correct?
Yes, sir, yep.
Matthew, have you heard anything or looked up anything yet about the maintenance of those? Or I know the grass does grow up through them.
Grass does grow, will grow. You do periodically have to take some Roundup or glyphosate or some type of weed killer periodically and do that maintenance. The ones I'm familiar with have been in a subdivision in Winchester, close to where the old GE plant is. It's been in for about 11 years. There's some people who live there, and it's holding up great. They did the streets, driveways, and everything with those type of pavers there.
Yeah, that was my only question, and I'm glad you noted that, is, you know, how well they held up and how much maintenance went along with them. But that sounds pretty good.
So,
This grant funding is coming through the Chesapeake Bay.
yeah, I think it's through the Chesapeake Bay.
Well, that's why you're having the ports.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, in my opinion, I think we should, regardless of whether we get a grant or not, I think the county should wait a little bit before we start thinking about paving that whole parking lot. Because we've put out a lot of money this year, and
And time's getting short to do it this year. I mean, this fall, winter's gonna set in on us, so probably if you were to pave it, springtime would be the best time to do it anyway at this late, unless we have a mild winter.
You said this individual would be willing to write the grant for us as
Able
well?
to help the grant writer. They've had some
Okay.
experience.
Yeah, I mean, if it's 100% funded,
And I talked to Mr. Straight about that, and he
Yeah.
said,
That's-
we'll take that back to the commission. Kind of like, okay, that's worth looking at.
absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Hott. We need to wait till some taxes are collected and, you know, maybe wait
And
a
then
few
the other thing, Commissioners, we're looking at the Committee on Aging. We haven't got that completed yet, and we've got some other funds that we have to maybe come up with to finish some of those projects.
But we want to, or at least, in my opinion, we should go ahead and pursue the porous pavers grant and see what we can do there. So whether or not in the end we do that or not, we should still pursue it. You think, gentlemen?
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Want
yeah.
to make a motion to that effect? And
I'll move that we go ahead and proceed with the grant application for the porous pavers. And
Second.
when we get her, hopefully have a grant writer in the morning. So,
I'll
hey,
second.
maybe.
okay, it's been moved and seconded that we allow Mr. Hott to work with the grant writer citizen and our new grant writer to pursue the porous pavers option for the parking lot across the street here. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Matthew, can you get us some photos of those, of the project down in Winchester?
Sure.
Any update on senior center?
Next month.
Okay, you come to are you coming to the meeting tomorrow? Did you speak
Julie.
to?
I talked to Julie today. So no,
Okay.
I'm not coming tomorrow, but I said I would have something for the
Okay.
committee next month.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And also, one thing, the clocks on the roof of this building, have a gentleman coming in, they specialize in that. He'll be in Harrisonburg next month in October and Front Royal, so he's supposed to call me and we'll get him to take a look at this and see what it, Kenny had gotten a lot of the information that I'd sent to him, so he's a little prepared when he comes. Don't know what it's gonna take, but we'll get it diagnosed and find out where we need to go.
Gentlemen, did we make a motion on the clock out front? Did we do anything with that? I was trying to remember.
Well,
We've talked
we did
about it.
make a motion that we could take it down, forgot the opportunity.
Yeah, okay.
Just haven't had the equipment on
Okay.
site. There you go.
The mayor mentioned that she would send the maintenance guys over or something to that effect, and I said, I don't know.
That could be worked out.
Okay.
You
Cool.
mean to repair it or take it down?
Take it down. I think it's obsolete,
It is.
but keep the electric for Christmas and stuff. Personally, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but I like those old ones we looked at, the old colonial style with the hands, but we could always do that later. We need to get rid of that thing first.
Okay, anything else for Mr. Hott, gentlemen? All right,
Thank you.
thank you, sir. Okay, and as I stated earlier, under the maintenance agenda, down under personnel, the recycling committee did interview the truck driver applicants, and their recommendation to the commission was that we hire Mr. Richard Lang, and he is a retired truck driver with CDL for 30 years and is interested in the limited part-time work that's offered there, and also stated that he would relieve the maintenance departments on some of their Saturday work. So that's a win-win for the county, because the maintenance guys have already gotten their hours in for the week when it hits Saturday. So that would be a cheaper option for the recycling in the county, the county as well. So, but the recycling has expanded to a point where they can do some of this stuff on their own, and we have the funding to hire help there, and it's pretty busy on Wednesdays and Saturdays sometimes. So we are continuing to slowly expand there, but the recommendation was that we hire the gentleman I just stated.
Mr. President, I move that we offer that position to Mr. Richard Lang, the part-time truck driving position.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the Hampshire County Commission accept the recommendation from the Recycling Committee for the hiring of Mr. Lang. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passed. And then further under personnel, Commissioner Cannon, did we need executive session for your personnel?
I think so. You qualified under personnel and employee matters, but I do believe so. I was going to maybe request that we wait till after the public comment, so they don't have to
Come in and come back out?
come in and come
Okay.
out, go
They
back
can have,
out.
they can have that option anyway. All right, I'll agree with that. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I'll open the floor for public comment. I'll just remind the folks here that public comment is just that. If it's not on the agenda, we can't address it or make a decision about it, but we can note your comment and answer simple questions not regarding to any type of decision. So with that, I'll ask if anybody has a comment for us. Yes, ma'am.
What are the name of the two solar companies that have approached this county?
Sorry, you'll need to come to the microphone to speak.
Yeah, I left that out, especially the people watching online. They want everybody to come to the microphone because
They said, Sam?
whichever you're most comfortable, just.
What are the name of the two solar companies that have come to this county for proposal?
The one that's working out there at Augusta has changed names several times. Commissioner Cannon, do you remember the most recent name of that?
It was Galehead, and then it was Rev Renewables.
Rev Renewables.
Galehead and Rev Renewables.
Yeah, they've changed a couple times since they started.
And
But
these are
they're
for
call-
actual solar farms, but we won't get any of the energy.
Correct.
Well, you can't say where the electrons go, you know. Yeah, it goes into the,
Would it be on public land, or would this be private farms?
You know, usually it's, the way they work now is they approach private individuals for lease agreements.
Okay.
yeah, the other one is Energix?
Yeah, Jack's.
But they did approach the commission about basically a tax break was it last year, I believe. There's a payment in lieu of taxes pilot acronym where we have the power and the code to give them a tax break but we did not do that.
Okay.
They're on an unrestricted lot and they have a deal with a private citizen on Fort Hill Road. They call it Cape and Bridge Solar so I know it's convoluted, but the project itself is Cape and Bridge Solar, so I don't know if they incorporate each project, but so.
Okay. My second question would be, you said one of the cell towers for US Cellular has gone up in Cape and Bridge.
No.
Are there the proposal?
The procurement process.
procurement.
Yeah.
Is US Cellular making anyone aware, or are people actually aware of what these cell towers emit and what they can actually do to people, the harm? Has any of this information been looked up or discussed as we go forward with this new technology that we're not even aware of what it does to our actual brains, to the environment?
Yeah, I know through the,
Go ahead, sorry.
I know through our planning board, ma'am, that they follow all the current laws that are out there. Now, if it's something that's not a law or something that's not required at this time, then they may or may not be doing that. But
Well, I'm
I
gonna-
do know our planning board makes the effort to make sure that everything that's done to that regard, as far as it has to be legally done. That's the job of our planning commission.
I just, I feel like I would like for the three of you, and for a lot of people, I just discussed this with Pastor Dave at Hope Church, that people need to understand the dangerous effects of these cell towers, of the internet, and I think it needs to be researched and brought to more people's attention of, they don't know what have been studies of what it can do. It can disrupt the right temporal lobe of your brain, which suspends moral judgment. It can create impulse control. And these things, I think, everyone needs to be aware of with the advancement of technology and our children's future. Because do you want to have your morals suspended by a cell tower and you don't know it's emitting a frequency that can do that?
Yeah, I did do some research on this, and of course, most of the research that we have shows that those types of waves only become carcinogenic or cancer-causing when they become to the ionizing wave spectrum, like radiation for cancer, and it has a lot to do with the wavelength itself.
No, I'm talking about actual frequency pollution from the technology that's advancing and coming in on this area now more and more. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of studies that have been done.
They emit waves, and those waves, that's what you're talking about. The waves that
Yeah.
come off the towers when they're emitted into your body, those effects. Just like when you get your router, I got a router from Atlantic Broadband, and I'm almost threw the box away. Down at the very bottom of the box, there's this little card in there, and I almost threw away. I picked it out, and it says, make sure you plug this thing at least 70 centimeters away from where you sleep, or, you know.
But then you multiply that by these towers that are huge and invasive. I mean, they're invasive in the land, they're invasive. We don't know how far they can reach, what they could do. I mean, they've done studies on how they can control actual cattle through emitting frequencies. They can make them angry, they can make them placid. And we need to start really thinking as we go forward with the scientific future, if we want to be controlled in that way as human beings.
I think
Because
that's
we
why
don't
Bob's
know
so
what they
angry.
can do with them or what they will do
Cell
with them.
phone.
So I just want to make, that would be it. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Yes, sir. Delegate Hillenbrand.
Thank you for the opportunity. I just wanted to make sure people were aware of the recent legislation, HB 125, with regards to applying and paying their personal property taxes and how that works. And just want to make sure that people are aware that if you don't pay in a timely fashion that first increment on your 2023 bill, which you got a month or so back, by the end of this month, in 2025, you won't be able to get that credit on your personal income tax for 2024. And I know that's a lot of confusion.
Not to cut you off, but the assessor sent out all that information in the forms. She sent it out, and it was explained very well how to.
Yeah, Norma and I spoke even today on it. There's still a lot of confusion in the community. I just came from Mineral County as well, and just a lot of confusion, and whatever means we can do to help communicate that with people. That's what I wanted to, obviously the end of this week is the deadline if you want to be timely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I've gotten a few questions about that, and I referred them to either Norma or one of the delegates to explain it. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to introduce myself to the room and everybody else in the county that might be watching from home. My name is Hayden Miller. I am here on behalf of Delegate Moore Capito, who's going to be running for governor, and just wanted to say a brief hello here today as we've been going through the community, both here in Mineral County, and expect to see a lot of people here in the next month or so with more, but just wanted to say a quick hello and let you know that we are here to answer any questions about what's going on, whether it be down at the state legislature, what's going on in the race, and a number of other things. But I appreciate your time here today and happy to be a part of the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller, for joining us this evening and telling us who you are. Anybody else? Okay, hearing no one else, I will close the public comment section of the meeting. And I believe Commissioner Cannon wanted to go to executive session for personnel matters.
Mr. President, I'd move we go into executive session in regards to a personnel employee matter.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we enter executive session for personnel matters. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed, which that means everybody will have to exit. If you want to stay for the remainder of the meeting,